What's wrong with this setup? Looks okay, doesn't it? You know, like the handlebars are where they should be, on the end of the stem, and the levers are on the ends of the handlebars, and everything looks pretty level and is pointing forward. So it's okay, right? Well, no. This particular setup is a disaster, and that is why I'm getting stiff shoulders, aching wrists, and pins and needles in one hand. But what's wrong with it? Well, stick around and I'll explain. If your levers are in a weird position, then so are you. And this leads to increased pressure in your shoulders, arms and hands. And also, if your levers aren't level, then nor are you. Your spine's all twisted and you're going to be sat to one side on the saddle. Now, if you're doing a 1 mile plod to the shops and back once a week, then this really technical stuff probably doesn't matter. But if you want to ride hundreds of miles, then this stuff really does matter. So in this video, I'm going to give you some simple advice on basic cockpit setup. So what do you think of the new apron? Kind of fancy pants, isn't it? Pockets and everything. Santa bought it for me for Christmas. Compliments me Wonder Woman mug. Now, nobody can make a video that tells you exactly how you should set up your bike, because we're all different, but you can make a video that explains the basics to set it up for a very average rider. That is why this is a bike setup video, not a bike fit video. I will show you the basics of how you set things up by default, you know, as you would expect to see on a brand new bike. But it's not one size fits all. If after doing the basic setup you feel things still aren't quite right for you, then I would recommend you speak to a specialist. Right, so let's have a closer look at what this problem is. And first of all, it's entirely my fault, this problem. I did a group set video a while back, and on that video, real time, I just literally threw these levers on the bars while the bike was swinging like that on a maintenance stand. And as a result, they're in completely the wrong position. Now, what's actually going on here is there are 3 problems. First of all, those 2 levers, they're not even level with each other. One's sitting a lot higher than the other. Second of all, they're not both pointing forward. And the third problem is they're on completely the wrong position on the drop of the bar. Now, I've got a wonderful tool that will help to measure and address 2 of those 3 problems, so let's take a look at that now. Right, now, the eagle-eyed / OCD among you may have actually noticed that I have completely redesigned the workshop pegboard in this new, practical, easy to find layout. And what this now means is I can't find anything. Right, what am I looking for? The lever thingammy tool. Ah, it's actually right in the middle of the board, staring me in the face. Maybe it does work after a way. Anyway, right, okay, so let's take a look at the tool. So this is the Tupri alignment tool, and it's actually 2 tools in one. Its main purpose in life is a derailleur hanger alignment tool. You know, you get it and you put it on your derailleur hanger, and then you swizz this round to work out whether the hanger is bent or not, and if it is, you give it a little bit of bad news and straighten it out, you know. But as I say, this is dual purpose because it also comes with this black clump here, that thing. Now, what you do with that is you get that and you screw it into the top of your stem, and what that then means is you can get the tool and swizz it round to work out whether your levers are in the same place on the bar where the toe-in is, and also whether they're level. Using your trusty Presticycle 3-way tool, what you do is you get your top cap and you whiz that off. There you go, top cap and bolt. Get the adapter, screw the adapter down. It's got a long bolt on it, so it takes a while. And then just hold the bars, pinch it up tight. There you go. Right, so all we now do is bring the tool round, and what you're aiming for is you want to get the bar and bring it down to the centre of your lever. Like that. Yeah. Once it's on the centre of the lever, just lock it in place. Now just bring the tool away, just make sure it's just catching on the top of the lever. And then all we do is swing it round and see where it lines up on the other side. Let's give it a go. And as we can see, it's absolutely miles out. I knew they were out, but I didn't realise they were that far out. I can get my finger in the gap. But what we can also do is we can then adjust the tool again and check some other stuff. Like we can have a look at where they are at the top of the bar and then swing it round and see what we get at the other side. Yeah, about a centimetre difference. And then another check we can do is we can get the tool and we can make it so it just catches the edge of the lever. And then we can bring it round the other side, and that one, it passes straight past it. So clearly, those two levers aren't even pointed in the same direction. So what the tool has showed us is the two levers aren't sitting at the same level. They're in completely different positions on the bars, and they're not even pointing in the same direction. So there you go. Now there are a few variations to this, and there are a few other ways that you can do these measurements. If you are lucky enough to already own a derailleur alignment tool, like this one here, then you can buy this adapter on its own. Now, Abbey Tools make some very, very posh stuff, and they do one of these. It is very expensive. But if you do a bit of shopping around and do a bit of digging, I'll find some for you and put a link below. There are some other companies out there that you can find that produce this tool that allows you to put a hanger tool on the stem like this. So this is just a derailleur hanger alignment tool. Now if we do the same thing, bring it down to the lever, you'll notice it does exactly the same job. So put it on there, and there it is, just grazing the top of the lever, and then we'll swing it round. There you are, there's that gap like we saw with the blue tool. Now I could do all of it, but you get the general idea. Now leave that there a second. There is one more thing we can do to check where the lever position is on the bars. If you don't have the tool and you don't fancy laying out the money to do this one-off job, then another great tip for you is raid your mum's sewing kit and grab one of these tape measures like this, put it at the bottom of the hood, run it round to the tip of the bar, make a note what the measurement is, and then just check the other side is exactly the same. And if they're both exactly the same, then they're both the same position on the bar. Now obviously this isn't going to help you with other adjustments like towing and stuff like that, but as I say, the position on the bar, this will work just fine. Now when it comes down to checking if the levers are level, there is one tool that people frequently turn to, and that tool is a level. Now we know that those two levers are not level. The one on the left is right down and there's like a centimetre gap. So now let's put this spirit level across those levers to see if they're level. Find the same place on the hood and put it on. And the level is bang in the middle of the bubble. It's spot on. So what's going on here? Well, what do you think the chances are that we've got this bike perfectly vertical? What happens if we move it just a little bit? Is that vertical? Well, now it's miles out on the bubble. What about that way? A little bit. And then the other thing is, what happens if you turn the handlebars very slightly? Well, every time you turn the handlebars, it tilts, doesn't it? Turn it that way slightly and then push it that way. When it comes down to this job, you do not want to be using this tool. But if you're putting up a shelf, it's fantastic. So all we need to do then is level these levers out and we're done, right? No, unfortunately not. the levers not being level isn't the biggest crime here. If you look at these levers and compare them to a bike that is set up correctly, you will notice that the levers are much further down the drops than they should be. And what this is resulting in, to be able to ride on the hoods, the rider is having to reach a lot further down the drop like this, and they're twisting the wrist, and by twisting the wrist they're locking the elbows up, and blocking the elbows up they're hunching their shoulders up like this to be able to get on the bike correctly. Let me get a set of bars and a lever and I'll show you something interesting. Right, so here we go, there's some levers and some handlebars. Right, hopefully I'm going to explain this. I'm not always very good at explaining things, so hopefully I'll get it right. Right, if you look at this modern handlebar, there's your flat, there's your tops there, and then the top extends round, and then you've got this flat section here. There's your tops and the flat section, and then the flat section suddenly just drops away. But it doesn't drop away straight away. As I say, you've got this flat bit here. And what you want is you want your hood to start where the flat section ends. Give me a second, let me get a lever and I'll show you. Right, one lever. Let's just put this on without whacking my microphone. Right, okay, as I say, I'm not great at explaining this sort of stuff, so hopefully it will make sense. So, as I say, there's your tops, and there's your flat section, and you want your lever hood to start where that drop, where the flat ends, yeah? But you don't want it to be straight across. You don't want it like the manufacturers show in the photographs of their bikes. They do it like that to make it look good. This is what you want to do. You want to get your bar and you want to adjust your bar, click, so it's facing just slightly down, sending the rider into the hood, yeah? But then what you want to do is you want to bring your hood back. So you've got a slight drop down, but then the lever comes back and the bar presents the lever to the rider. Now, you don't want much, you don't want extremes like that, you don't want to be doing that. You just want a slight amount, just like sort of 5 or 10 degrees. Right, so if you get an average mobile phone, right, modern mobile phones today, you've got like a spirit level-y degree thing like that, and if you tilt it, it will give you like 5-10 degrees. So you can use that to give you a rough idea, yeah? So just like a small amount down, the bar just pushing down slightly, and then the hood coming back up and presenting the hood to the rider. And by doing it like this, you've not got the problem where the rider is having to overreach to rest on the hood. The hood is being presented to the rider. So this stops that overreach, the twist of the wrist, the locking of the elbows, and the scrunching up of the shoulders. Right, so I've set that lever in a poor position like it is on the Dolan. There you go, set it a bit more. There you go. So it's down. There's the flat and it's down like that, yeah? So what I want you to do, I want you to get on your imaginary bike. Follow me on this one. It'll be worth it, I promise you. Right, okay, so there is our poor setup. And let's try and grab hold of that. So let's put our hand on the hood. And what you'll see is instantly, look at the line of my wrist. My wrist is having to push down. Follow it yourself and try doing this on an imaginary bar. Look at what your thumb is doing. That's the thing you want to watch, your thumb. Because your thumb is the thing that wraps the hood. And you wrap the hood with your thumb like that, and then look at the line. But if you look also, because I'm having to almost reach in a jar, as it were, yeah, look what it's done to my elbow. My elbow is locked, and look at my shoulder. It's hunched. So there I am, reaching down to get on the hood. I've got a really bad line there on my wrist. my elbow has locked and my shoulders are hunched up, and I'm going to be like that. Now let's just get that bar and wind it back. There's your flat and there's your bar kicking up, presenting the lever back to the rider. Now what you'll now find is when you then grab that lever, first of all, look at the line's straight. And now I'm not reaching into the jar, I'm just holding the lever. And what you'll also notice is my elbow now has a bend in it. I've got a bend in my elbow and my shoulders aren't hunching. I'm not doing this, reaching into the jar. It's being presented back to me like that. So now I've got a comfortable position with the lever being presented to me, everything relaxed, and I could sit like that all day. So now we've got a better understanding of where the levers should sit in relation to the bar, and we've also got the tools available to us to check that where the levers are in relation to each other. It's now just a process of adjusting things to set the levers to a generic position that would fit the average rider. So there you go, all done, levers adjusted and the bar tape rolled back into its original position. Let's give it a go and see if they're now in line. There's that one. Perfect. Tap, tap. I did lose a little bit of bar tape in the process on the right hand side, but not to worry because I've got a spare roll on the pegboard. So like I said at the beginning of this video, this isn't bike fit advice. This is some simple advice on how to set up the basics on a very generic cockpit. If you feel you've got the basics right already and you're experiencing problems or discomfort, then you should speak to a specialist. Now, I would also like to take a moment to explain a few bits channel related. And first of all, I feel I should apologise for the lack of content recently. Like most people here in the UK, I took a few weeks out for Christmas. And then after that, like most people here in the UK, I then caught the worst case of flu I've ever had in my life. And listening back to these videos to check them as I'm recording them, listening to my voice, it's clearly obvious I'm still not 100% right. But the good news is I'm back in the workshop and I've got some very exciting projects lined up. First up, I've got another set of carbon rims winging their way to the workshop from one of the big Chinese OEM manufacturers. Let's see how they line up against the competition. Remember these that featured on the channel a few months ago, the Elite Wheel Drive 40s? Well, there was this one, practically perfect in every way. We'll call this one Mary Poppins. And then there was this one. We'll call that one the Grinch.
I'm an idiot!
What actually happened to these wheels? How damaged are they? And more to the point, can we fix them? Because I'll be totally honest with you, I'm not confident in putting them on a bike until I do. And let's not forget the new gravel build that's coming up. Full carbon fibre frame and forks, fully integrated carbon cockpit, 13 speed, gravel specific, fully wireless group set, deep section gravel specific carbon rims. Oh, and let's not forget the custom paint job that is unique to you, that you design online. Can we build the ultimate gravel bike for basic bike money? Now that you have got your levers in the perfect position, you'll want to adjust your reach and free stroke, so you should watch that video next. Or you may have made a complete dog's dinner of it and damaged your hoses. Then you need to watch that one. Thanks for watching.